Alright guys, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create Penguin3D server on a VPS so anyone can connect to it on the internet. So to do this you're going to need a bit of money. We'll see how much in a moment. One of the best VPS providers that I use is called OVH. So they are ovh.com. This company does some really good service for a low price. They also do free DDoS protection. So if you go on bare metal VPS at the top, virtual private servers, and we'll have a look at the VPS section. You see how cheap these things are, really affordable. And this one is a great offer for new customers, which probably you are. So if we go ahead with this, it's only 81 quid. Now, I'm on British currency, but it'll work out cheap no matter where you are. I've already got a server, so I'm going to use that one instead. But for the purpose of the tutorial, I'll just show you how to do it. Just press order now. Now once we're here, we can just stick to the very basic option here. 2 gigabytes of memory, 20 gigabytes of disk space. It's plenty enough for the server. Look at that, it's only 81 pence. Brilliant. So let's scroll to the bottom and just press distribution only and pick Ubuntu. And then continue again. Renewal frequency 1 month or whatever you want to renew it at. You might want to just pay 1 year up front. Still only £10, very good deal. And then log in and pay, and that's it. Okay, once you've purchased your server, you'll get to this point, and it's basically telling you that you're going to receive an email from them with your login information. It might not come straight away, so you have to wait. Keep checking your email, and then once you've received it, it'll give you all the login information. Wait for your server details to arrive in email. We need to set up a SSH client, and for this we'll use putty, and you can get that from putty.org. Simply just find the link to download, press download. You've got different options here. I'm going to use the ARM version, but you guys use the x86 version. The reason I'm using ARM is because I'm running this Windows on a Mac. So once you've got putty installer, run it. Let's go through the setup. Next. And then it's installed, so I'm going to find it in the search bars, open up putty, and you'll get this rather intimidating looking screen, but it's quite simple. At this point you're going to need to know your IP address for your VPS, so if you haven't received your email yet with the details in from OVH or whatever service provider you're using, wait until you receive that first. And then once you know your IP address, you can go ahead and put it into this text box here. I know the IP address of my server already, so I'm going to go ahead and connect to it. And if it comes up with this box here, just press accept. And now you're going to want to put in your login information. So probably you'll be using the username root. For me though, I'm using a different username. Whatever the username is in your email, just use that. It will probably say root though. But whatever it is, just put it in for the first prompt, and then the second one is the password, put the password in that the email contains. And then once you've logged into your server on PuTTY, you'll be logged in and ready to start putting in commands. So the first command we're going to run once we log into our server is an update command, and that is sudo apt update and then the next one is sudo apt upgrade. Once that one is finished, run that, and then press the Y key on your keyboard with a capital Y. Hit enter. If you get some weird prompts like this, just hit enter through them all. And then we are ready to start installing our other packages. Right, the next command to run is sudo apt install MySQL or not. Alright, I've cleared the terminal now, and now I'm going to run the command sudo apt install MySQL-server. So that's sudo apt install MySQL-server, shift Y, hit enter. This is the database server. Just like what we did in the other tutorial, we used XAMPP to install MySQL, but in Ubuntu we need to install it manually. And then just hit enter through until it's finished. Okay, clear the screen again. Next command we'll run is sudo apt install phpMyAdmin. Shift Y. Configure database for phpMyAdmin with dbconfig common. I'm just put in yes. Now it's asking for a password for the MySQL application phpMyAdmin will use. I'm just going to use password so I can easily remember it. Type it in again. Okay, now it's asking about web server to use. We're going to use Apache 2. So just type in Apache 2. Hit enter. Okay, let's clear the screen. Now we're going to install Apache 2, which is our web server. Put in sudo apt install Apache 2. Looks like it's already installed. Just run it anyway, just in case. Seems like my server already has it on. Probably installed it when I installed phpMyAdmin. The next package to install is PHP. So we're going to put in sudo apt install PHP. Shift Y. Enter through until it's finished. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go in our web browser. We're going to install the IP address of our server. Type in sudo paste it at the top, and then go /2-php mod myadmin-php. And that's quite a long one, not familiar. It's lib apache screen -mod.php. Enter. Alright, so now type in sudo a2 nmod php 8.1. Then we're going to use sudo service apache 2 reload. Okay, now we just need to configure our MySQL server before we set up our database. So to do that, we're going to log into the MySQL client, sudo MySQL, username root p, don't put a password in, just hit enter, hit enter again, and then it will log you in to the command line client. So the first command we're going to do is we're going to create a new user. So it's type in create user. We're going to call this one admin at localhost. Make sure you use quotes. Put in identified by, and then your password that you're going to use. I'm just going to use password because it's nice and easy to remember for my little brain. Put a semicolon in at the end, and then done. Your semicolon should go here. I just forgot to do it, so you can just put it there and then hit enter. So to grant all privileges, we're going to type in grant all privileges on wildcard.wildcard to admin in quotes at localhost in quotes with a semicolon. I did a typo. I'll do that again. Grant all privileges with an E on wildcard.wildcard to admin at localhost in quotes. Done. And now last command, flush privileges. Flush privileges with a semicolon. Now we can exit out of the client, minimize putty. Let's go back to phpMyAdmin. Now we're ready to log into phpMyAdmin with the user account that we set up just then. Admin and then password. Log in, and there we go. We're now fully authenticated to our MySQL server. Okay, and this looks very familiar, doesn't it? So we're just going to follow the same steps that we followed in the last tutorial. Download the latest version of Penguin3D server. Download the latest version. Open it up. Drag that onto the desktop. Go back in phpMyAdmin. Let's go to databases. We're going to follow the same steps that we followed in the other tutorial to create our Penguin3D database. Create that database. Now import desktop Penguin3D schema. Open. Go. And there you'll notice I included a bot schema as well, which just contains all the bot accounts. So we can have bots in our server too. So we'll import that one too. And now it's populated our database with the bots that are in the game in the users table. So our database is ready now, it's set up. Now let's configure our server. And to do that, we need the link to our server. So the server zip, right click on there, copy link address, minimize. And remember now, it doesn't matter about this folder anymore on our computer because we're not hosting our server on our computer anymore, we're hosting it on our VPS. So we need to install this server onto here now. So to download it onto the server, I'm going to use wget, and then I'm going to paste the link to the zip. Wget with a link to our server zip. Hit enter, and now it's downloaded it. And the file name is p3d server 1.1.2.zip. Use the unzip command to unzip it. There's a chance that you might not have a zip installed. If you don't have the zip command installed, just use sudo apt install zip and unzip. Okay, well it's worked here for us. So the next step is we need to install Node. Now this one is a bit tricky. We're going to use NVM to do this. Alright, installing Node is a little bit tricky, but just paste these commands in, it should work. So first command, we're going to install the NVM installation script, and then we're going to run source squiggly. Ooh, can I get my squiggly up? There it is. Squiggly / dot profile. Alright, now run nvm install v18.12.0. Okay, there you go. Let's test and see if it has worked. Put in node-v. There you go. Node is installed with version 18.12.0. Right, now it's time to set up our server. Let's list all the files in this directory just to get our bearings straight. ls, hit enter, and there's our server that we unzipped. So let's cd into there, cd p3d server 1.1.2, whatever the version is. You might have a different version by the time that you do this. And then Penguin3D underscore public. And then run npm install, just like we did on Windows in the other tutorial. And it'll install the packages. You only have to do this once. Okay. I'm going to clear my console again. And now I'm going to edit my config.json file, and this is essential. You have to do this part in this case because there's a few things we need to change. So use the nano editor, nano config.json. Show you that again, nano config.json, and use your arrow keys to navigate. I'm going to rename this to my VPS P3D server and change the description to this is cool, isn't it? Now these are the things we need to edit. We need to edit our MySQL database credentials. Remember that we have the username admin and my password is just password. Database Penguin3D, that stays the same. And that's it. So to save this file, hit Command X and then press Y on your keyboard. That's Command or Control X, Y. And then hit enter, and that is saved. I'll just show you that one more time. Nano config.json, Control X. Once you've edited something, it'll be Control X, Y, enter. Okay, now we need to change our user path. Right, now we need to do something to the password on our admin account just to make sure that the server will log in correctly, otherwise it will have problems. Right, now we need to do something to change the way that the password works for this user account just so that the Penguin3D server will accept our database details. So when you're in phpMyAdmin, go to the home page, the home button, and then go on user accounts, select your admin account, go to change password, and then just put the same password in again. Whatever you used before, don't change it. But from this drop down, select native MySQL authentication. Okay, now that this your Penguin3D server is configured, it's time to run it for the first time on your VPS. So run node penguin3d.js, followed by the port that you want to use. I use 3600. Hit enter, and there you go. Our server is now running on our VPS. Awesome. So let's remember our IP address. So when we log into Penguin3D, press on custom server, and then type your IP address in. I'm just going to look at it again. Mine is 10.211.55.4. Now this, remember, is the IP address of your VPS, not your computer, not your internet connection, your VPS, the one that you've bought. And then colon, and then followed by the port just used. I use 3600 up here. And then connect. And there you go, my server is now fully set up and running on a VPS that anybody can connect to all around the world. And as long as I have this running, it will stay up. Now, this is important. If you close PuTTY, you're going to see it in a minute. If I close PuTTY, my server goes down, right? It's not responding anymore. The server is offline. It should disconnect me in a second. Oh, it's not disconnecting me. Well, it's offline anyway. Definitely offline. Nothing's responding. That is a bit weird though. Yeah, it's disconnecting me. So it's really important to start your server. Sorry guys, let me just get my IP again. So I saved it. Go. I'm going to save this. I'm actually going to call it Penguin3D save. Logins, parallels, that's my user account, password. That was a wrong password. Logged in. Okay. So when I want to start my server permanently and keep it online, I'm going to use something called screen. So the first thing to do is run the screen command. Oh, it's not installed. Ah. Let's install it then. Sudo apt install screen. Continue yes. Surprising that, because normally screen is installed already. Let's run it again, screen. There we go. Hit enter again. And make sure you're in your server directory. Oh, what have I done wrong? 1.1.2, sorry. Okay, and now when I run it, that will be running permanently. Even if I close my PuTTY, even if I close PuTTY, the server will still be running. Everything will still be working. I'll still be able to play the game, or it should be. Yep. Okay. Let's go back in PuTTY again. Penguin3D. Okay, and to get screen back up, type in screen-r and it will load our server back up straight away. That was running in the background that entire time. If I want to stop my server, I can use Control-C. Now my server is stopped. Alright. And as you can see, it's not responding at all. Okay, so there we go, it's timed out. So you might be wondering about asset bundles. So asset bundles they work exactly the same as they do on localhost, but you just have to store your asset bundles on your VPS and upload them to your VPS, which is a bit tricky on command line because you can't upload anything from your computer to your VPS. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to use something called FileZilla. Just get the FileZilla client and just download the regular FileZilla. Just going to keep all these boxes open. So let's install FileZilla. No, I don't want Chrome. So once you've got FileZilla, you log in with your IP address. This lets you see all the files on your VPS, and then you can upload things to your VPS. On the left is your computer, and on the right is the VPS. So let's log into the VPS. Just keep a note of my IP address there. It's 10.211.55.4. My username is parallels. Do a quick connect. Port 22. There we go. So make sure you're connecting to port 22 on there, and then you've got all your folders here. So where we want to go, if we go to the path address bar at the top here next to remote site, type in var www public html, and this is the folder, this is the location. Oh, that's not right, hang on, let me type that in again. var www html, that's it. So your address bar at the top, type in var www html, and this is your public location where everything is. So if I go to my IP address at the top here, 10.211.55.4, just on its own, you'll load up this page here, and that is this file. So if I want to upload an asset bundle, for example, I got my asset bundle in here somewhere. I think it's in XAMPP htdocs asset bundles. There it is. So we can make a new folder called asset bundles. Oh, I'm not allowed. Oh, this is a bit tricky. Because you're not allowed to edit this folder. What you've got to do is go back in PuTTY. You can open a new PuTTY window and keep your server running in screen. Just close that. Let's open up PuTTY again. Penguin3D. Just logging in. I've got to cd to var www html. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do sudo chown parallels, or your username. If you're using root, you won't have to do this. If you're already using the root user, you already will be able to add a directory. There we go. So if it doesn't let you, just run that sudo chown username colon username and then a dot, and then hit enter, and I can upload my asset bundle there. And now the IP, if I go to asset bundles, I'll have my asset bundle here, and the URL for my asset bundle, if I was to add it here, local bundle would be HTTP IP address asset bundles local bundle.unity3d. Sorry. So you're loading your asset bundle from your VPS basically. That's really important because obviously no one else on the internet can access your computer from your IP address. They can't load up your asset bundles on your XAMPP because unless you've port forwarded the HTTP port, you won't be able to download the asset bundle. But if it's on your VPS, obviously they will. And there you go. So the process is basically the same as the other videos. Just remember, when you're providing the URL, it needs to be your IP address for your VPS. And also make sure you've uploaded your asset bundle to your server in the relevant location via www.html, and then make a folder for yourself and put them in there. So that's with FileZilla, that is with PuTTY, and that is how to set up your own Penguin3D server on Ubuntu on a VPS. That was very difficult, but well done if you've done it. Respect. Thanks for watching. Oh, and if you have questions, just ask me on Discord or email me.